Hello and welcome to your January Echo Digital Summary and to Saguaro National Park. First off, a huge thank you to Tim Ayers and his team for all the amazing work that they're doing there at White Oak Conservation. So you don't traditionally think of golf courses as ecological hotspots, but for Tim and his team, they don't just manage a golf course, they manage a watershed that happens to have a golf course in it. Their goal with everything they do is to increase the carrying capacity for native plants and species and all of the animals that live in this space. So they do it practically by things like when a tree dies, they don't immediately cut it out. They let the insects come into it, which draws in birds, which draws in other animals. They do lots of controlled burns. They plant a diversity of native species. They create spaces for food, for shelter. They manage water. Something Tim said that I think is amazing is that their ponds, their golf course ponds, actually have 0 parts per million of nitrates in them. The standard drinking water is 10 parts per million. So they've done such an amazing job catching fertilizer and keeping it on site, keeping it where it's supposed to be, that it's creating this incredibly healthy environment. And I think for us as traditional zoos and even aquariums, we manage campuses. We don't always think of our space as something that can be a healthy, thriving environment itself. So we can learn from some of these things. And the last thing that Tim kind of leaned in on is the business case. So often we think about these sustainability practices as kind of nice to have, but the reality is that it's the right business case. So by being smart about how we maintain and plant areas, what we plant, how we trim grass, how we trim, just how we manage our campus, we can actually reduce the wear and tear on our equipment. We can reduce the time required to do the work. So we're reducing staff load. It is actually the right business case and the business model to be good stewards of the dollars and resources, as well as creating this incredible environment. So there's a whole lot more detail. Check out the written summary, but thank you again to Tim, and hopefully we'll see you at our next Echo Digital in February.